Hello everyone, and welcome to this Territorialio subscriber game on Europe. Today we've got a 40-player game from a friend of the channel, Grassy. This game's going to be a little bit more analytical and a learning experience to kind of think about some decisions from other players in the game. And if you want to have your game featured, be sure to stick around till the end for further details. So, starting out the game, we see 40-player game on Europe, and Grassy is doing something dangerous. He is doing a random spawn, so he is spawning down here in Jordan, so word of advice, don't spawn in Jordan. Jordan is a doomed spawn. Looking off at the start, we see kind of general decent opening from basically a little bit of a late start. We see some early game punish, that's okay. You sometimes want to be careful in this. I think that's an okay decision. We see okay bot hits. That's something you really need to work on in the early game effectively when you want to think about like how to get to a higher level. How efficient you are at the start pays off later. So Grassy's out of the open, he's just chilling. He's kind of seeing this TR Netherlands dude being dumb, so he does some punish at this time. I think that generally made sense with the timing. You can always think about stuff like that, about when is the most optimal point. I don't know if I would have gone for the bot. These are small details. And Grassy comes out with like what looks like a pretty awesome start. Effectively, he gets another boost from dumb people, player 347, and even sees someone else from France going down. Now at this point in the game, Grassy has done a really good thing about sending out a boat here to Malta, looking at options. And this is the key part of the game that we need to analyze. So we're going to actually pause right here. So looking at this point, something that you should think about as a viewer is you might want to pause and think about, if I was in this position, what would I do? And basically, Territorialio, it's not that complicated, and Grassy is going for Empire of Japan here. And this is a really interesting play, because Empire of Japan is about to get stacked. But something that we can see is that the border Grassy has with this dude is not really good. So let's keep going and see how this plays out. So Grassy goes into, I think this is Libya right here, and then he takes out Sicily. And some of the things you can see with how this is going is Empire Japan is not smart. Effectively, they're sending out huge amounts of troops, so this looks like a great option. But the kind of thing that's going on too is Grassy's missing what's right in front of him here in kind of the Balkans area. And this is kind of where the game goes from here. That effectively, Grassy is kind of playing with this game of like, I want to take out Empire of Japan. But the problem is, we see another player here in Spain and Italy that has really good borders. And effectively, part of the challenge of Grassy's attempt to take out Empire of Japan is that he has a really good chance of basically stabbing Hibernia, who's having to do nothing. In terms of how I might have played this, there's always kind of efficiency questions with how to take this down. I'm going to just done some attacks on Empire Japan, sunk him down a bit, and then ask Hibernia to attack him, and hopefully I can capitalize. But what happens is we see back and forth, and effectively we see a big boat taken out, and the big problem is this kind of stacked Hibernia. And that's kind of the details at this point in time. We see that Grassy hits cap right here, and this is another really critical point in the game. So at this point in time, timing is like integral to how successful you are in Territorialio. How I would have played this, it all depends on how Sample's allies looked in the game. I probably would have gone into Hibernia right now, because it's kind of now or never. The challenge with this is you might have just had a back and forth doom, but at this point, we're kind of getting out of the mid game. You don't want to have a border with Gandhi. We kind of know who's going to be here at the end. And effectively, you might have waited too long. We potentially see some boat stacking outside of your zone, which is a decent idea. But at this point, even though you've been friends with Turkey, you probably want to take them out. And essentially, with this full send here, it's kind of just a doom scenario. This is not really a point in the game where there's like a clear decision of like, oh, I'll do this. We see that Hibernia leaves here, and that just effectively means, okay, take this out. You really needed to take out Turkey here. At this point, the game is kind of over in many ways. This is no longer like strategic decision. There's a lot of communication and contextual dynamics. I've been critiqued for being a manipulator in Territorialio. A lot of endgames like this are kind of just manipulation. How can you make irrational friends? It looked like Gandhi got ahead, and effectively, you're going to want to take out Turkey at this point in time. You got to be careful of how many troops you send out with boats. That can lead you vulnerable to this. And effectively, Grassy just and everyone else decides on a stalemate. So in this game, there's things to think about with timing, finesse, who benefits who with border attacks. And essentially, we just end with 14 gold for Grassy. Very important gold. So anyways, if you want to have your game featured on the channel, just leave a comment saying, I want to have my game featured. I'm going to do a random number generator, and whoever gets selected, I'll put your game on. Maybe we'll think about decisions. Just some ideas of thinking about different visions of Territorialio. So thanks for watching, everyone. Take care. Bye-bye.